Hi, welcome back to another episode of Thinking Inside the Box on Noah's Ark. Today, we're going to talk about this effect often associated with psychedelic rock from the 60s called reverse reverb, or also called backwards reverb. This effect can be heard on countless records by, artists such as Pink Floyd. The effect is commonly used on percussive sounds and drums, but it can be used on a wide variety of different sources. So let's start by listening to a track called Sheep, and let's hear how the effect sounds like on Nick Mason's kit. So let's start with some background historical information. It is said that this effect was first created and found by Jimmy Page along with engineer Glyn Johns on an early Led Zeppelin session. And the way Page used to come with this kind of crazy effects on this track is by harnessing the limitations of tape and trying to think outside the box to overcome these limitations of tape. So how do you achieve that effect in the analog world? So first, you have to choose which track you want to apply the effect on. So if you have a drum track that you want to apply the effect on, you have to first flip that drum track so that the transient come after the actual waveform. So when you have that track flipped, you're going to pass the signal through reverb, and you're going to print that reverb signal on another track. And then what you need to do is flip both of these tracks. So you need to flip the original back to its place, and the newly created reverb track, you're going to flip that as well. So that's going to make it so that the reverb tail is going to come first, and then you're going to have the signal, the percussive transient, coming after. And this is how reverse reverb or backwards reverb was created with tape machines. And that was quite a tedious process. But fortunately, we're going to see that in the modern DAW, this is going to be really simple to do, and we only need one audio suite plugin in Pro Tools called Reverse. So let's jump into it, and I'll show you guys how we can achieve that effect very easily. So I've just opened up a Pro Tools session called Epilogue of Hopeless Fate from my first album, and I want to apply this reverse reverb effect on this drum track. So this is what the dry drums sound like. So let's first reverse the drum track. So let's select the drum track, go to Audio Suite, Other, and we're going to select Reverse. This plugin is basically going to flip the waveform from end to start. So let's hit Render. I've already done this on a second playlist to speed up the process. So let me select this second playlist. And this is what the reverse drums sound like. So what we need to do is print this reverse reverb. So I routed my drum verb aux to this track, and I've recorded already the reverb. This is what the reverb sounds like. But what we need is actually the reverse of that. So what we need to do is first flip back the original drums. So this is the original playlist with the drums on the original order, and we need to flip this reverb signal. So let's go ahead and go to Audio Suite again, Other, Reverse, and then with the reverb clip selected, we're going to render again. So I've already done this on a second playlist. So let me switch, and then this is what the reverse reverb only sounds like. But this can quickly muddy up the mix if you have, the whole track with reverse reverb. So what you need to do is you need to edit out, the parts you don't want and keep the ones you want. So I've kept some of the fills that I wanted emphasized, and this is what I did on the third playlist. So I just cut out the ones that I don't need and fade in, fade out the drum fills I want. And this combined with the original drum signal sounds like this in the track. So that's it. That's reverse reverb in Pro Tools. So there you go. Reverse reverb or backward reverb in the DW. So let me know how you achieved your reverse effects in the DW. And please subscribe if you want more analog tips and tricks in the box. And I'll see you next time for another video.